Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you here for our second Soft Ed webinar of the year. We're so thrilled to have Tony Rockcliffe with us from AI Connection Club. And we have a fun topic called One AI Tool to Rule Them All. And this is being recorded and will be sent out to you afterwards. So please do feel free to kick back, relax, put your questions in the chat, put your questions in the Q&A. Either one works. We do want to see your comments and thoughts as we go along. And if you're tracking your PDU credits, I'll also email you an hour PDU credit code for you to redeem towards your certification if you're tracking those. That'll come after this webinar as well. So with all that said, I'd love to turn it over to you, Tony. I know you have a great presentation prepared for us. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so you should be seeing a screen that says Manus 1.6 magic, right?
Yep, we're seeing it and looks great.
Great. Okay, so I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes just explaining who I am and what I have to do with AI and all that kind of stuff. So back in probably about 30 years ago, when the internet was kind of in its infancy and it was just text and blue links, we created a community on the internet, and it wasn't text and blue links. It was actually 3D multi-user virtual reality. So people would be surfing around and going from one blue link to another and maybe seeing a picture occasionally. Then suddenly they came across this, which was all animated and had sound. And they went, oh my God, what is this? And they went in and joined and liked it and started telling their friends, which was great, except that we had 100 of these chat rooms where all these people were interacting with 3D bodies, etc. And when you've got 1,000 new people a day flooding 100 chat rooms, there's no way to keep up with all the questions that keep getting asked. So I had heard about AI because AI had been around since the late 40s. And I'd heard about it, but didn't really know too much about it. But I kind of thought, well, I'll look into it and see if I can build what I guess we would call back then a chatbot. And we did. And this is up at the top here. You can see, if you can see my mouse moving, this is Mina, who turned out she could be in all the chat rooms simultaneously and she could answer questions. And she became very popular, developed a sense of humor and personality, and had a lot to do with our success, which we actually grew to 1.3 million members pretty fast. And because of that, we got a lot of press and international press because what we were doing was very unique. But I fell in love with AI and the potential of AI because I saw what it could do. And then after that, because I'm also a multimedia producer and I have a whole bunch of studios here, AI started to kind of move into our area of video creation and image creation and music creation some years back. So I kept my foot in AI, and then of course 3 years ago, ChatGPT came out and just changed the whole environment. So what happened was I've been giving up to 10 seminars a month on AI for 2 or 3 years now. And I kept meeting people who wanted to know more about, well, what is it? What can it do for me? But please explain it in everyday English. So since I had a background in computers, I thought, okay, well, I'll create a community where I can help people learn AI in simple English. And that's the AI Connection Club. So let's take a look at Manus. Now, I'm sure everyone here is familiar with ChatGPT. Actually, I just need to see if I can open the chat window again because Zoom closed it as soon as I started sharing. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I'm sure that most of you are using tools like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini for chat. And about 6 months ago, I came across Manus. And at first, I was using it for research because it was incredible and still is absolutely incredible, so much deeper than ChatGPT or Perplexity. for research. So I was using it for that, and I would ask it to do something, and it would go off and do all the research necessary and get back to me with like 25 to 50 page report that would have taken me months to get all that information. And it would do it in about 20 minutes back then. Now it's down to about 5 minutes. But anyway, what we're looking at here is the main interface. When you first go in there, you'll see it'll say Manus 1.6, what can I do for you? And then you speak here. And we're going to go through the different parts of this so you can get a feel for what's there. And then we're going to take a real deep look at what it can do. So you can see here that it can create slides, presentations. It can build websites. It can develop apps, like phone apps, but it can also develop full-blown programs. It can do design, and you see here it's using Nano Banana Pro, which is one of the best image generators out there. But it can also schedule tasks. It can do very wide research, as I mentioned. It can read and analyze spreadsheets and visualize the data in the spreadsheets, but it also can create videos using Google VO 3.1, which is the best one out there. And it will create audios and images. It has, of course, a chat mode, and it has a thing called Playbook, which I'll show you shortly. Now, up here in the top left corner, you'll see it says library. And what library is all the things. Okay, I've got a message here saying, oh, okay. I got a message saying, are you intending to share your screen? And then it said, sorry, disregard. Okay, good. You guys can see my screen, right? Great, thank you. Um, okay, so yeah, the library will show you all the things you've been working on recently. So for instance, if I click on library, I can see that I was building a tool for podcasters called Podcast Pro Suite, another tool for hospitals, and everything that I've previously been working on will show up on this page. So you can go straight to your previous conversations or your previous images or your previous things that you're building. So now here, you see this thing here. It's just kind of the same as this, where you can connect your existing tools to Manus. So you can connect Gmail, Google Drive, and this page scrolls down and down and down. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of tools that you probably use that you can then connect to Manus, and Manus can interface with them. Okay, I see that Lakshmi says he or she is unable to see the screen. Yeah, if you click on in Zoom on the top right-hand corner, you'll have a choice of different views, and you'll be able to see it that way. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at four different areas or four major areas out of the dozen or more that Manus can handle. So the first area is the researcher and the analyst, what they call wide research. It performs comprehensive web research across multiple sources. And what's kind of fun is when it's doing it, you can see the websites that it's looking at, and you can see it scrolling down and getting the information. And it analyzes and synthesizes the findings and actually gives you actionable insights and recommendations. It creates structured reports, comparison tables, and summaries. It does a really, really good job. Saves me incredible amounts of time in research. Then the second pillar or the second area is the creative generator, where it will generate professional images from text descriptions or promotional videos without editing software. And it can build complete presentation decks in minutes, like PowerPoints and things like that. The third area is the developer and builder. It writes production quality code in multiple languages, builds responsive websites from simple descriptions, and creates functional applications for business needs. And it does all this without you having to know anything about coding. You just tell it what you want it to build, and off it goes and builds the thing you want. And then you look at it and you go, what if we added X? And it says, sure, let's do that. And it goes off and does it. And then there's a section called the automator and integrator, which will basically schedule tasks to run automatically at specific times. And it will create 24/7 automated web flows that workflows, sorry, that will connect to your various tools and do things that you want them to do to save you time. And this is actually a very poor example because this is just 3 competitors. The actual reports that it usually does are massive and brilliant. But this is just to give a kind of idea of the fact that it will do these things. I did a thing where I wanted to know all the different features of the best 25 AI image generators. And it went through and it got all the information and it created this great spreadsheet for me that showed everything that each of them could do or not do and saved me so much time. Yeah, from hours of searching to minutes. The traditional is multiple browser tabs, manual note-taking, hours of synthesis, 3 to 4 hours at least. Manus approach, single prompt, comprehensive analysis, structured output, 5 minutes typically. So you get professional grade competitive analysis, pricing comparisons, feature matrices, verified sources and data citations, so you can be sure that the information is good. And it has an on-demand creative studio because it's capable of generating multimedia content from simple text prompts. It uses the best image generators out there, including Google's Nano Banana Pro and VO 3.1, which is currently the top of the line video generator. So it will generate professional images from simple text descriptions and promotional videos without needing video editing software because it'll just do what you want and you can tell it what you want to change, both in the image and the video, and it'll do it. And it'll build complete presentation decks, as I mentioned before, perfect for building logos, social media content, blog illustrations, marketing materials, and training decks. Rushi says, is Manus a free tool or is it paid? It's both. It has a free level where you get 300 free credits a day and 1,500 a month. And I'm going to give you a link at the end where you can get an extra 500 credits. And I'll explain the whole credits things a little bit later. But you can do a ton of things on the free version. So the image generation, it uses Nano Banana Pro and others. It's great for social media content, product launches, website and marketing content, presentations, book covers, product images. It's really, really good. And when you're doing the image generation, you can choose the style. And this is just an excerpt because there's many more styles than this. You can still choose whatever style you want it to be. I mostly use realistic, but occasionally I'll use cartoon for something. And it will accept reference images. In other words, you put in an image and say, can you create an image of X and Y using this style? And it will. And you can remove unwanted people or objects from the background while preserving the main subject and the natural scene. So you can upload your own image and say, remove the background or add this or remove this part of the scene. Or if it creates something and there's something in it you don't like, you say, remove it, and it does. It does video generation, includes VO 3.1. Now, the reason I'm not actually on Manus right now demonstrating image and video generation is because we have limited time and it takes, a couple of minutes to generate a video. But it'll create short promotional videos from text prompts, which are great for social media content, product launches, internal communications. And the videos have audio already built into them. And you can specify what the audio is, what the background sounds are and what the person, if it's a person, what they're saying, and it'll be perfectly lip synced. For users who want to create fully structured longer form videos, because these videos are typically like 8 to 12 seconds long, and then you just join them together in the usual way. But Manus apparently can be paired with a separate tool called SendShort AI, which I just found out about and haven't had a chance to test. But it says that it takes scripts generated by Manus, because Manus writes beautiful video scripts, and it turns them into complete, ready-to-post videos with visuals, voiceovers, and music. And this is SendShort. And like I say, I haven't tried it yet, so I can't say how good or not it is, but it was interesting that it exists. Okay, presentation decks. Maria, I'll answer your question at the end because it's not a short answer. What it creates is, you say create a 25 slide presentation on the moons of Saturn, and it will go off and do that, as you can see on the right. Uh, it'll have the complete content structure and flow, the images ready to present, formatting, and you can say save it as a PowerPoint file or a Word doc or whatever format you want to save in. And logos, you say create a modern sci-fi logo for Manus AI, and it does that, or whatever it does at the time. Great for brand identity, marketing campaigns, website graphics, social media posts. So there's no need for stock photo subscriptions, freelance designers for simple tasks or complex design software. Now, the playbook is very interesting. Actually, we're going to go online and look at the playbook because what it is, well, let's go there. Now, sometimes Zoom doesn't do this properly, so I just want to check with you guys. Can you see a page that says Manus Playbook? Can you see a web page? Yes, yes, yes. Great. Okay. Thank you very much. So the playbook is basically instead of using a single prompt, some things that you want to do might take a few prompts or a few steps. So what the playbook is templates where the steps are already set up, like they've got a video generator, market research tool, YouTube influencer finder. George says, will it help with writing ebooks? Can you train it to handle a writing style? Absolutely. Slides generator, PDF translator, profile builder, SWOT analysis. It does fantastic. This is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You can put in your website or another company's website and find out the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Resume builder, if you want to build specific Chrome extensions for things you want it to do that it doesn't do, you can do that. Canvas maker, startup idea, proof of concept, fact checker, story generator, sketch to photos, interior designer. I mean, just lots of stuff. And each one of these, like I say, is a series of steps that, let's see what it does if we say market research tool. So it says it builds the prompt, and you fill in the blanks and says start the research. So it basically creates the prompts needed, whether they're a single prompt or multiple steps. So it's very handy for that. It's also got a section where, well, it just breaks it down into different things, but it's got resources like use cases where you can see what other people have created with it. Usually you can. Yeah. So these are different, all sorts of different things that other people have created with Manus, and you can check them out and see the prompts and see what created those different things. And you've got all these different areas that you can select from. So you can get inspiration and ideas for whatever it is you want Manus to create for you. As you can see, it can create a lot of different things. Okay. Well, while we're here, I might as well answer the pricing question since it's here. Oh, no, no, no. What's this? Oh, okay. No, I shouldn't have done that because it's showing my upgrade prices. Let me get out of here and go to um, a different screen where you can see what the real world prices are. Actually, I'm going to go into a browser that I'm not logged in because Manus knows I'm logged in. So I'm going to, here we go. So Manus has a free version, and then the first paid version is $20 a month. Then the next one up is, depending on whether you buy it annually or monthly. The free version, like I say, I used the free version for probably 2 months without needing to go up to the $20 a month version. Bit by bit, I've been increasing because I build now a lot of applications for companies, and those are heavy credits. So I'm on the $60 a month plan right now, but you wouldn't need to do that unless you're building heavy duty applications. Okay, so we're going to move on from the playbook. Yeah, we looked at that. Now, Manus recently introduced a thing called the Manus browser operator. And what that does, it's basically a browser extension that enables Manus to operate directly within your browser and do all sorts of multi-complex tasks for you. And it transforms any standard browser into an AI browser, allowing the Manus agent to work as an active participant in digital tasks. It integrates with your browser setup, meaning the AI can access sites and platforms where the user's already logged in. It's not going to try and log into your sites that are private. And yeah, I just see a question in the Q&A. Artie says languages. Yes, it supports multiple languages. It's capable of breaking down high-level goals into smaller manageable tasks and executing them independently. And it'll go off. Yes, Vivian, there's an enterprise version. And it'll go off and do the steps necessary. Um, yeah, you can see it'll show a side panel called Manus's computer that shows exactly what it's doing and the decisions that it's making because it's able to make its own decisions. And if you see it making a decision you don't like, which I haven't had happen yet, but if you do, you can instantly press stop and tell it what you want it to not do or to do. And it's very good at doing planning, knowledge retrieval, code generation, all these things working in parallel to handle complex workflows. So sometimes I'll be talking to it in the chat mode and it'll say, hey, do you want me to build you this thing that we're talking about? And I'll go, sure. And it'll just go off and build it. And then we'll check it out. And it's usually first time great. Yeah. And you've got privacy controls. You've got options to manage which websites Manus can access or disable the cloud browser feature at any time. Now, this is a little introductory video that Manus put together just explaining what I was just talking about.
Your browser already works. You don't need to download a new browser just to experience AI capabilities. Meet Manus Browser Operator. This is a browser extension that turns any browser into an AI browser. It allows Manus Agent to work directly within your browser environment. Grant Manus access to your browser when needed, and sites that you're already logged into, Manus has access. Keeps your AI tools in the zone, so you stay focused on what matters. No more login delays, no more CAPTCHA headaches. You keep control. Manus adds the intelligence, experience an AI browser without changing a thing. Manus extends your reach. Your browser extends Manus's reach. Your logins, your setup, your habits. Link to Manus and start browsing smarter.
Okay. Sandra says, how do you get to the playbook? So let me go to Manus in one of my multiple browsers here. I've got 7 monitors, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So let's see. Oh, they've just added meeting minutes. They keep adding things. So now Sandra says, looks like I'm on the Manus Lite. No, I'm not. I'm on Manus 1.6. I've got 11,400 quotes. I'm in Manus Pro. Okay, so to answer your question about the playbook, see where it says more here? Then there's playbook, and that takes you to the playbook. So, all right, so let's continue here. So the third area is that it builds applications and it writes production quality code. And I should tell you something about this. I'm not sure if I have a slide coming up that explains this, but I'm going to mention it now. I spent 6 months working with other tools like Replit and Lovable, very popular tools, and even Google, um, trying to build various apps. And I built a lot of apps, a lot of good apps, but both Replit and Lovable did some major updates, and both those updates just caused so much problems. And I kept running into what we call the AI I fixed it loop. And what that is it'll build something and you say, okay, can we add this feature? And it says, I've built it, and I test it, and it says, and it doesn't work. So I say to the either Replit or Lovable, I say, it doesn't work. And then it says, oh yeah, I see what the problem is. And it says, I fixed it. I test it again. It says, and I say, no, you haven't, because it hasn't. And this goes on round and round and round, like 6 to a dozen times with Replit and Lovable. Manus doesn't do that. Manus just gets it right first time. And if anything ever comes up that needs to be fixed, it fixes it itself before it even presents it to me. So for me, it's night and day. It builds responsive websites from simple descriptions. It creates functional applications for specific business needs. No coding experience is required. You just describe what you need and converse back and forth with Manus to build it. And I needed a flowchart generator, and I tried to build it in Lovable, and I was able to, but I had to go back and forth so many times with this whole thing of the AI I fixed it loop. I put the same prompt into Manus, and Manus just built it right here instantly, built exactly what I asked for with nothing to fix and nothing not working. So that was actually my first experience with Manus about 3 or 4 months back. And I was like, wow, what a difference. And so since then, I live in Manus because I can build anything I want for myself or for clients. So it creates these standalone applications for specific business needs, subscription trackers, mind mappers, CRMs, WordPress plugins, games, internal business tools, rapid prototyping, proof of concept. So you can turn ideas into working applications way, 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 way faster. Rushi says, just wondering if this can be used for creating prototype pages for user experience. The same done by Figma. Yes, absolutely. I just did that recently for this PodFest thing that I'm doing, and it does a great job of that. Now, this is something that I just wanted to show. This is seems irrelevant, but you'll see in a moment why it's not. So the hidden costs of podcast production, because I'm going to be talking to 3,000 podcasters on Friday and Saturday, and they typically spend $200 to $400 a month on multiple tools to do all sorts of things like transcription, content generation, audiogram and video clip creation, recording and production, guest management, analytics, tracking, email and newsletter tools. And they can spend a lot of money and time on all these different, learning all these different tools. So I said to Manus, hey, let's just take all these tools and put them in one. And so it built me this wonderful thing called Podcast Pro that has all the different features that would normally take a dozen different podcast tools to do, actually more than a dozen. So I was really, really happy, and am really, really happy with. I see a lot of questions coming in. Some of them are not short answers, so I will definitely answer them at the end. So let me go. So the key thing is that you basically, you decide what you wanted to build. Oh, this is actually a shortcut that I like, which is I decide what I want to build, and I paste that into ChatGPT, and I say, rewrite this as a prompt for Manus. And it does really well. It knows Manus well, and it writes a great prompt for Manus, and I paste that prompt into Manus. Now, credit usage. For everyday tasks, like, chatting and images and stuff like that, it's very generous with its credits, and I never run out of credits for that, even on the free version. But when you start getting into building apps, now that gets pretty hairy on the credit side. And I found on the first app I built, I used something like 6,000 credits, and I thought, whoa, this is not great. So together with Manus and with ChatGPT, we did an analysis of how does Manus allocate credits when it's building apps. And based on that, we came up with this wonderful prompt that actually saves up to 70% of credits when building an app. So I'll show you how to get hold of that at the end, but that's the solution I worked out for that. But basically, you find a pain point, something which you don't have an app that does it for you, and you just have Manus build it for you. For one complex app for hospitals, the one I showed you a little bit earlier, I was told it would take 5 developers, 2 to 3 months, and cost anywhere between 150,000 and 750,000, because it was a really complex multi-app. With Manus, it took me way, 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 way less than that, and at absolutely minimal cost. So I'm very, there. In fact, there it is. Ask Margie. People in the hospital on their phones can chat with Margie and get all sorts of information about what to do in that specific hospital, and what does this thing what's this document that the hospital gave me mean, because she can read the documents and explain them in simple terms. Medical resources is connected to the largest database of medical information on the planet. They can contact a nurse. They can do all sorts of stuff. And Manus has just made it a joy to build it. And you can go, George says, with Manus, you're putting developers out of business. Oh my God. Well, it's not me that's putting them out of business. And actually, it's more and more developers are using these tools to speed up their own development, basically. So it just gives them the ability to do more faster, so they don't have to go out of business at all. Adam, I'll answer that question at the end. Process. So you can have it create a website and a published website in minutes. You can say, build a professional landing page for a productivity app with hero section, features and contact form. I want it as, and it gives you the usual output for what a website needs to be. And the result is a fully functional, responsive website ready for deployment. Traditional, it's hiring developers, multiple revisions, lengthy timeline, can be months of work, tens of thousands in costs for a complex site. Manus, you co-build it with AI using natural delivery and much faster delivery and much lower costs. You can also schedule tasks to run automatically at specific times or intervals. You can monitor websites, generate reports, send summary, all without manual intervention. You can connect Manus, as I mentioned before, to your existing app's ecosystem, so it can communicate back and forth and put data where you want it and get data where you want it. So you can transform one-time tasks into recurring automated workflows. So set it once, and then send me a daily summary of AI industry news every morning at 8 a.m., which is one that I have because I'm having to keep up with all this stuff. In the AI Connection Club, we keep up with all the latest tools. And 6 months ago, it was easy because there'd be a great new tool released once a week. Now it's 3 a day. So it's a pretty different world. So this is great for monitoring markets, competitive intelligence, content curation, regular reporting. And so you can organize files across your storage system, send notifications to your teams, sync data across your workflows, because you're connecting all these different apps and letting them talk to each other and talk to you. So no more switching between apps. Manus becomes the central hub that connects everything. So it's one platform. Oh, that's interesting. Rushi says, which industries are currently using Manus? Any business names? Well, guess what? Manus this week was bought by Meta, as Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, for $2 billion. So I think you'll find, I mean, already it's being used hugely, but it's going to be used by a lot more now that it's owned by Manus. So today we explored the researcher and analyst, the creative and generator, the developer and the builder, the automator and the integrator. So instead of paying for separate research tools, design software, development services, and automation platforms, you get everything in the one subscription. And that's why for me, it's become my major tool for most everything. Not everything, but most everything. As my all-in-one digital partner for research, creation, development, and automation. And I'm personally very fond of my Manus because it knows me well, and it's just great. It knows what I want, and it creates that. So yeah, there's the free version. There's the 19 a month, which when we looked online just now, it looks like it's gone up to 20, the same as ChatGPT. And then there's the 39, which it looks like it's gone up to 40. But I'd recommend you start free because you'll get, I mean, I used it for months free, and I only had to go up to the 19 when I started building apps. So for SoftEd attendees, if you can sign up for free using this link, let me see if I can, I'm going to actually go out of there, and I'm going to put the link in the chat because you'll get 500 instant extra credits if you do that. It's an affiliate link, so I'll get 500 extra credits as well. There you go. Yeah, you get the 500 that you get for signing up at this link, and you get 300 every day. And they refresh. It's not 300 and then another 300 and then another 300, but you can get a lot done with 300 credits. And free users get throughout the month a total of 1,500 credits plus the 300. So a couple of gifts. I've got a PDF starter pack that gives a bunch of Manus prompts. And it's called here Vibe Coding for Podcasters because it specializes for podcasters, but the prompts can be modified to do anything. And anything you want. And included is the prompt that saves 70% in credit costs when building heavy-duty apps. There's also an hour-long seminar that I gave on Manus AI at the AI Connection Club. I'll put that link in the chat as well in case you want to check that out. I think that's the one where Paul McCartney's sister showed up. So that was a fun one. She was very interactive and very cool. You can reach me if you have questions or if you want a copy of the slides at trockcliffe@gmail.com. You can also reach me in the community, AIConnectionClub.com, and I'll answer. Yeah, Tricia, you're right. She is so funny. Yeah, you can reach me in the community and I'll answer any AI-related questions that you have. And another gift for you guys for attending this is the free version of AI Connection Club has a lot of features, but the silver membership has more. And the free gift to thank you guys for attending today is if you join the free membership at AIConnectionClub.com, you'll see at the top right a join now button or link. Then email me at trockcliffe@gmail.com and let me know. I'll upgrade you to the premium annual silver membership 100% for free. So in case you don't know, the club it's a community of people helping each other with AI and keeps up to date with the latest tools, tons of great tutorial videos in there. And they're like 5-minute videos, so you can get started immediately and not have to spend 10, 20 videos trying to learn how to do a simple thing. And just tons of different things in there. But just to let you know, at the top right is a map. And that's the fastest way to find everything and to go around. In fact, I'll show you real quickly, just so you have an idea here. Yeah, up here is this map. And if you click on the map, it will take you to a bigger map and where all the major places are listed and an explanation of what each of them are. And these are free custom GPTs. There's about 60 of them that do all sorts of things that are very helpful and handy. And when you click on those links, it'll take you straight to those places, the chat rooms, the replays of the seminars, the groups, best AI tools, the live webinars, the daily AI news, all sorts of stuff. So going back to the presentation. Yeah, that's the same place. Yeah, so if you want the slides, email me at trockcliffe@gmail.com if you'd like a free AI coaching session with no obligations of any kind. I just love helping people. You can email me and ask me for that too. So that's basically what we're going to be covering. And I'm just going to go now through the chat and see if there's some questions to answer. When I've answered them, then you can just ask questions either in the chat or with your microphone. So I'm just going to roll the chat back. See if I find the first one. Robert says in Q&A, what about privacy? Well, like with any of these tools, you have controls where you can control whether the data you put into them is used for training or whether it's kept private. But I have a policy that I don't put anything on the web that I don't want to keep private. Okay, let me go back to, there's a bunch of questions. I'm just scrolling through the chat to get to them, to make sure I get to the first one. Okay. So far, the ones I've seen have already been answered, but I'm sure I'll come to one I haven't in a minute. Adam says, a lot of this I find disingenuous, and also the ability to, quote, do the work for you when the user does not have the skills to do it themselves. If you can't do the work, you cannot verify whether the results you get are valid. There's a validity to that. And it's why I, fortunately, am skilled in a lot of different areas. So I'm able to see when chat of any kind is giving me an answer that doesn't quite jive and doesn't quite make sense. But someone who might not have the same knowledge, yeah, definitely ask it well, Manus usually tells you where it got its information from. But in terms of doing for work for you, I have a seminar that I do for authors, and someone once asked me, actually more than once, well, doesn't this mean now that anyone can write a book? Not really, because what will happen is the AI will write something and the person reading it will go, whoa, this is great. But not having the mindset of a real author won't recognize where it isn't great, because there may be places where it isn't great. And so you get a lot of what they call AI slop. So it's definitely works better if you know what you're doing. You know, if you know how to create images, or you have experience in graphic design, or have at least an artistic sensibility, is you're going to get better images than if you just say, create this. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Well, it might or might not be. It often is these days. Oh, Maria put a link from AI magazine called How Manus Puts Meta Ahead in the Agentic AI Community. Great, thank you. I'm definitely going to check out that link. Okay, I'll check that out afterwards. That's great. Okay, let's see what's next. All code should be reviewed by a human being before deployed to a production environment. That's good advice. In my case, so I'm not a coder, but I have a little bit of coding experience. So I'm kind of able to, but the thing about Manus is that it fixes itself. When it's coding stuff, I watch it and it tells me what it's doing. And it's saying, I created this error. Here's the problem. I'm fixing it now. And it does. And I, of course, have beta testers, etc., who test the software before we release it. But so far, the stuff that Manus has been creating is working out wonderfully. Patty Nicholas said, my friend is writing a computer program for his business and it is bugged. Would he be able to use Manus to debug? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Tim Kai says, oh my God, this drove me crazy. I fixed it. Not. Yeah, that's the AI loop that I was talking about before, where the tools like Replit and Loveit say, I fixed it. No, you didn't. Adam experienced the same thing. Let's see, what else? Okay, now George asked a question. He says, I have a prototype that need a container like Docker. How can Manus help me and how is it different from ChatGPT? Well, I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what Docker is. If you want to turn your mic on, George, and explain what Docker is, maybe I'll be able to answer it, or maybe put it in the chat. Let's see what next. Does Manus build its database based on the questions users, consumers input into it? Let's ask it. Let's go to Manus. Okay, so the answer is no, it doesn't. Let's see what's next. Who is going to try it? I know I am. Cool. Me too. Yeah. There's a ton of tutorial videos in there. Very fun. Oh, yeah. Thanks. I've learned more from Tony than anyone on the new AIs. Oh, thanks, Trisha. Please do share the recording. Yes. Lara's going to be doing that, and I'll send you the slides. Okay, I'm almost through the questions. What are some weaknesses you may be aware of, if any? Well, the main weakness I ran into, actually, in another presentation, I have a couple of points on that exact subject. So let me pull it up and see. Okay, well, first, actually, I'm going to ask why answer why I chose Manus, then I'll go into the weaknesses. So it understands and creates exactly what I want. No AI, I fixed it loops, it just works. It's super responsive and extremely intelligent. It comes up with great suggestions of its own. When I build something or a section, or I add something to something I'm building, it builds it, it works, and then it says, hey, what about these three things? And it comes up with great suggestions. Okay, whoop. It has everything I need already built in. No need for separate databases, AI agents, or cloud stuff. It debugs itself before giving the app to me. It lets me save it so that only people with a link can access it and others can't use up my account credits. Lovable, unfortunately, cost me $160 recently because of that not being the case. I can save the apps to my own website domain or to GitHub for sharing and editing with other developers. I don't have to download code and install it like you do if you're coding with Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini. And it's, I think, very reasonably priced. Okay, now I'm going to go to the part where it talks about the weaknesses. Okay, yeah, this is the thing. And this goes to Adam's point about, really checking the answers. If something doesn't quite make sense, query it. And quite often, you being the human and the smarter and the one that can actually reason, it will usually say, yes, you're absolutely right. Great spotting that, or something like that. So don't just take its answers as gospel if they don't make sense. Say, hey, what about that? And don't always accept what it recommends as the way to do things, especially if you see something that could potentially cause a problem. This is more on the development side. Call it out, and it will usually say, yes, you're right, and then ask it for what other options there are. Very often it'll come up with a much better option that better suits what you need. So it's always a kind of back and forth, just like with a real person, with a real developer. They might suggest something and you go, oh, well, what about this? And what about that? And how does that apply to this? So it's similar. And this is an interesting thing I discovered when building apps, and that was it can do the most unbelievably complex behind the scenes infrastructure things, but sometimes because it can see all the code and everything else, but sometimes it has a hard time with simple front end user interface tweaks like hovers on something on a website because it can't see the front end. And so it needs me to see for it and be its eyes. So we have this relationship where I ask it to do something that involves something tricky on the front end, like animations and hovers on the front of a website. And I test it. And if it's working fine, if it's not, I tell it exactly what's happening and it fixes it. Okay, that's the main weakness is that kind of thing, and also the fact that the credits uses a lot of credits when building apps. But with my prompt, which you'll get if you ask me for the PDF where I have all the prompts, that prompt saves 70%, which is a lot. Okay. Patty says, I'm trying to sign up and I don't see a free version. Are you trying to sign up on on a desktop version or a laptop version? Because I remember some people who tried to do it on a phone ran into some trouble. But free trial is definitely a way to go. But there's definitely a free version. Okay, Richard says, do you foresee that the current video editing tools will soon be out of date? That is, spend the time using Manus to do the video editing. That area is actually changing all the time because I have a whole other seminar on CapCut, which is an incredible video editor that also includes a ton of AI tools that makes it replace Descript and a dozen other tools. But just this week, Adobe added to their AI Firefly suite an editor, kind of like a mini Premiere that's very AI based. And it kind of, so the scene is changing all the time. But yes, there are tools like Kling01 and Runway ML that enable you to edit real videos. And there's a thing that came out just yesterday from Pixverse called R1 that lets you edit videos in real time. So that whole arena is changing dramatically. Okay. Docker builds containers that you can use to deploy your app. All right, let me go back to your question and see what the question was. Okay, it's too far back, but basically when you build your app in Manus, you've got a choice of having Manus serve it for you for free, or putting it on your own website, or exporting it to GitHub so that others can work on it. I mean, all the usual ways of, getting your programs available. It doesn't have anything missing in that. Okay, let's see what the next question is. Oh, it says there's 19 new messages. So let's see. Okay, Sandra says she just ran a SWOT. What does it mean to publish it? I want to keep it private. Well, when you publish it, it is private unless you share that link. Adam says, I still feel there will be a bubble like the dot-com bubble of the early 2000s. There's currently insufficient AI governance, and there are many current lawsuits over the usage. Yep, that's absolutely true. I was right in the middle of the 2000 internet bubble. That was a wild time. Yeah, let's see. I need to drop. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome, Batch. Thanks, Chris. Batch download to get the presentation created. Well, yeah, it'll create the presentation and then you can say, save it as a PDF or a PowerPoint, PPTX. Uh, the exchange me, hopes I pronounced that right, is if you send me an email, I'll do that. That way I can send you more emails with useful information about AI until you tell me to stop.
Thank you so much, Tony. This has been incredible. I know there may be a couple questions that we won't have time to get to. I know we're at the top of the hour, folks are starting to drop off, but I just wanted to say, wow, this has been so fun and interesting. I hope you all got something out of it that you can go and try out. I just wanted to mention before everyone hops off that we do have a conference coming up on AI and software engineering. And SoftEd's hosting that on February the 19th. So look out for a link in the follow-up about the conference if you're interested. The early bird is open and it's $40 for a half-day virtual conference. We've got 9 speakers and it's a whole new lineup than we've had in the past. So I hope that you can join us there. I know Tony's one of our sponsors with the AI Connection Club, and I encourage you to follow up with Tony, take him up on his very generous offers. And I think you will find a lot of value from any time you spend in the AI Connection Club. But I don't know if there was any other parting words you'd like to share before we close out, Tony?
Well, I see there's a couple of questions for you in the Q&A, Lara.
Okay.
Uh,
His
Did you?
email, someone's asking about the email. It's trockcliffe. I'll put it one more time in the chat. trockcliffe@gmail.com. If you want a copy of the slide deck, email Tony and he'll send it to you. If you're just looking for the recording, go ahead and just wait for tomorrow and it'll show up in your inbox from SoftEd. And let's see, any other
Yeah,
questions?
Rushi asks, is this session eligible for IIBA CGU points?
Yes, it is. And it would be the self-directed learning category. So you can reach out to us at SoftEd if you have any questions about that. You can go to softed.com and you'll see the contact form there. We're happy to help you if you have any questions about IIBA continuing education credits or PMI. We do send out the code for the PMI claim on their system, and the IIBA is more of a self-reported system.
Okay, well, thank you very much, all you guys who attended and asked such great questions. And
Yeah.
hope to be able to interact with you again in the future. And thank you, Lara, so much.
Thank you for being here, Tony. This was a lot of fun. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and we will be in touch by email. Thank you for being here.